Hi, this is our project Legend Lost, and in this project, we are building a math education game for St. Martin's Community Center, and we're letting the kids learn about math, and we use the state standards of sixth grade for Indiana to build the mini games around that kind of math standard. And in this mini game, they will be, or well, in this game, they'll be completing mini games that go along a quest as a knight. So here, we'll begin it now. So Lancelot tells you some things about how he's trying to build a competition and he asks for your help. So read that, click this arrow, then a shape will appear and you have to find the area of these shapes. So for instance, height is equal to 2, width is equal to 2, area of a square is A equals width times height. So the answer would be 4, but I'll actually try a wrong answer and submit that, and it will tell you failure, try again. So then you submit the right answer, submit, and this process is continued through more shapes. So now you have area of a triangle, which is base times height divided by 2. Base is 2, height is 2, area would be, or the answer would be 2. So if you click that arrow, it will tell you to read the formula, submit the answer 2, and then hit submit. Next shape will appear once you hit submit button. So then for this, you have area of a circle, a equals pi r squared. R is 2, so this would be 4 times pi would be the answer with respect. So you need to acknowledge that pi, since it's a number that's not necessarily an exact number, we're going to have pi already inserted, so if you do 4 pi, it works. Now you get advanced to the next kind of mini game, and this is more complex shapes, where you have bigger formulas. So you click this formula button, you see all these formula, or you read this thing, tells you more instructions on how to complete these shapes. You can look at, you see area of a triangle, area of a rectangle. So take special note of those because those are the first ones we'll be using. But those 4 are more just to kind of throw people off the trail of what's the right answer. So you see the triangle at the top, as you can outline it here, and then you see the square on bottom. So with respect to those 2 shapes, you're going to want to do area of a triangle, solve for that, and then area of a square, solve for that, or area of a rectangle, solve for that. And then you add those 2 together, which we'll say it's 8 for now, which is 9 is the answer, but then you get the failure message again, so then you have to try again. So then if you type in 9 now, it should then work. So now a new compound shape appears, and you see there's a half circle on top, square in the middle, well, rectangle, square, another half circle on bottom. So if you hit the formula sheet, you'll see area of the rectangle is the same, and then area of a circle is pi r squared. So you need to be aware enough to see that, and then you have to know to add the areas as well, similar to last time. So for instance, the area, if you said 7, would be wrong because it's actually 8 plus pi. So if you hit 8, it works there. So then you are on to a new mini game, which this mini game is catapult shooting at a target. So Lancelot tells you have to find the distance between the catapult and the dummy target. So once you acknowledge that, the game begins. So you start first at 0, so you're shooting from 0 to 28. So if you get the wrong answer, it tells you try again. And your goal is to hit the target 5 times. So if you keep throwing these in, you'll have just keep getting answer after answer, and then eventually you'll switch to a next mini game, which is right here. And you're no longer starting at point 0, but you're starting at different points. So this starts at 13, this starts at 29, and you're trying to hit the target from a distance away. So here you have the target moving, you're still trying to get 5 of them, and if you miss it, it still gives you those failure alerts. And so now that you hit submit and get that right answer, it changes to a different kind where you now note there are negative numbers, and Lancelot tells you this is going to be harder and you need to remember to find the distance. So that's a fairly easy one. But now that you have a negative number, if you, for instance, thought, well, I'll go negative 4 or negative 7 times plus 49 is 42, no, it's actually a distance, which is 56. So you have to type 56 there, and then you get it correct. And then you start having more things, or negative 38. But no, it's actually 58. So this complicates the finding the distance, as kids often struggle with being able to think of negative numbers as still a set distance away from zero. So we're trying to help push that idea and treat that as a concept of that being a fact. So now you go to the next mini game after getting 5 of those right, and Lancelot tells you you're trying to help build a round table. So you have to pick matches that would make a full. So this is 2 1/2, so that equals 1. So if you crafted that, it would be 1, but when you click that one, which is a 3/4, it actually is no longer 1. So you need to unclick that. And then now you have different numbers, so that's 2/3. This looks like 1/3, so if I hit submit, it would equal 1, and then I got that correct. So then I have to think of ways to combine to make 1 with fractions. So this is 1/2 and 2/8, and also if I had 2 more 1/8, that equals 1, and that's correct. So then I have to deselect those as I have new numbers now. So 7/8, 1/8 is 1, so I'll submit that. And then I look at the new numbers, 6/8 and 1/4 is actually 1. So, and then if I hit this arrow, it just tells you like you're still what you're trying to do. So that's just further instructions in case you get confused. And then that would, now you're using numbers and shapes to make 1. So for instance, that's 1/4, that's 3/4, so that equals 1. And then with those shapes, you have 1/4, 1/8, or 1/8 and 3/8 or 7/8, so that equals 1. So now you go to the next mini game after getting all those right, and then you race your horse around the track. So in this mini game, Lancelot tells you you'll be timed. You have to answer these questions. You can note the timer up top is counting down. So you have 90 seconds to complete this race, and you can start answering. So if I answer 5, that would be correct. So you see your horse move. And then at some turns, we don't have animations for every single movement, correct answer, so you have to repeat answers to move sometimes. Not repeat answers, but repeat the correct answers. So multiple questions, right? And then you move up. So note the timer is still going as you sit here and think about what you think. So that's a wrong answer. So I now have to try again. And then that would be the correct answer. So then I keep going. And we now have moved up more. And this process continues. So we'll take a jump and see how the timer is now at 5 seconds. So when this timer runs out, you've actually failed this mini game, so it will give you a try again. So time's up, try the race again. It will give you a little bit of a delay, and then it will restart for you. So now you're at the back of the beginning of the race. You have 90 seconds to complete this. So as you see, you start answering questions correctly, you continue on, and you'll eventually come to the end of the race. So yay, I'm on my final turn. I have my final answer. You win. And then click the arrow to restart the game. So if you click this arrow, you restart the game. Look at the timer, it's 58 seconds to stop, so I completed in 32 seconds. Good for me. And then you're done with the game. And we have it take you back to the restart screen because that's all we're doing for the semester, in the sense of we've now completed the game. But this project is further ongoing for future classes to pick up. And we hope that they can implement new ideas, implement a better story, things like that. Change the games that are needed and make what exists better. So I think the biggest lesson learned from Dylan, Ethan, and I is that having a schedule is key to development. As first semester, we didn't have scheduled 2-week cycles, and that really hurt us in the long run, as I think we went a lot slower than we did the second semester, and then we did compared to first semester. As first semester, we were very lackadaisical and didn't have a schedule for every 2 weeks. But then second semester, once we started that, we really started creating new and powerful ways of, I guess, not powerful, but new and better improvements to our game. And I think that would be the biggest takeaway, as start early on creating a cycle and continue that cycle to the end.